Hey guys, welcome back to the Bridge Between podcast. I'm Erika. We have Sosa, Reina, and we'll be getting to our guest Jasmine in just a little bit. We wanted to go ahead and say thank you to all of you who have been supporting us so far. Thank you for all of the coffees. Thank you for all of the comments. Thank you for joining in the conversation so much in the YouTube comments. Thank you for following our Instagram as well. If you guys do follow our Instagram, you probably saw that we now have been doing some lives. We're going to try to keep up with that fun Q&A, get to know us, chit chat kind of stuff on our Instagram. So make sure you're following us on @thebridgebetween888 to have the fun with us and all the things. And also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're just tuning in, you can continue to listen to us on, I have the list here because it's a lot. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, Overcast, plus more. So the whole long list is on our link tree on our Instagram as well. And if you are wanting to continue to contribute to our creativity and our content, you can tip us by buying us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/bridgebetween. We wanted to give a special celebration to our deck giveaway winner. We did a Oracle deck giveaway on our Q&A from our live, and our winner was Maribel. Hopefully I said your name correctly. Instagram is chachi.lo, @chachi.lo. So special thank you to you for joining in the conversation and having the fun with us. And make sure you check out our last episode, which was episode 5, Knitting the Past. We had a lot of good deep talks there, so check it out if you haven't yet. Before we continue on, you guys know I'm going to do the card of the day. So Archer's Career Oracle deck, even though it's career, you can apply the message to anywhere it applies in your life. So let's see what we got going on. I just heard Spirit say, though, wisdom and knowledge. So I really feel like right now, the energy of the collective is all about learning deeper lessons, gaining this deeper wisdom of self, needing to look deeper in terms of gaining knowledge, especially in the way of the history and the past, not just of the collective, but of your own personal history and past. Like maybe it's diving deeper into your ancestry, something like that. Asking proper questions about your family history, especially if you have one of those families that keep secrets, things like that. But that was just coming through. Let's see what else. Okay, this ain't it, and stop the pattern. So some of us know that a direction that we're headed in, or something we've been doing, it's like deep down we know this ain't it. We might know that relationship, okay, deep down we know this ain't it. That job, we might know this ain't it. The mindset we keep having, this ain't it. Stop the pattern, whatever it is. The red flags are in your face, and if you're not sure of the red flags, this is the red flag. This ain't it. So whatever it is, let it go. That's what I see right now.
Yes, I love that. This ain't it. Yeah. Thank you, Erika, for the cards of the day. And I would like to now introduce our guest of the day. Her name is Jasmine, a.k.a. Sol Divinity, a.k.a. Flo on Instagram. You can check her out at www.soldivinity.com. She is an herbalist, all around just a well of knowledge when it comes to HooDoo and herbs and culinary conjuring and all that fun stuff. Please check her out on Instagram. I recently took her intro into culinary herbs kitchen conjure workshop, and it was amazing. I loved it so much. Got a great recipe out of it. It was honestly so much information I could like barely retain it all, but it was all of the great stuff. So I just wanted to say thank you for having that amazing workshop and introduce you guys, the collective, to you. My first question for you is, what really introduced you into kitchen magic or kitchen conjuring and culinary herbs in general? Just because we took that workshop together and it was amazing. And I would love to know what inspired you to go in that direction.
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Jazz, owner of Sol Divinity. So I've always enjoyed cooking since I was young. I used to do the baking. So like my mom would do the cooking, then I would bake like the brownies or the cornbread or whatever it is to go along with the food. And I watched a lot of Food Network. So that exposed me to the flavors of different cultures and just different cuisines and different methods of preparing things. And it just started from then. I spent a lot of time at home alone. So I'm like, oh, okay, gotta eat sometimes if there's not any food. So I ended up learning how to, use the little George Foreman grill. And I would make my little recipes and little random things, just mixing stuff together. Like, I don't know, as a kid, I just always was mixing dirt and flowers and water or some type of something. I guess that's where my daughter gets it from too, because she then went crazy with the lotion and the shampoo. Was like 3. So like as I got deeper into, well, I mean, also my mom is from Jamaica, so she, that's an island, so they're influenced by a lot of agriculture. Her mom was very, how do I say this, raw. Like she doesn't even wear jeans. Like she wears the skirts only, don't smoke, don't drink. She doesn't eat anything out of a can, nothing out of a box. Like she likes everything from scratch. So my mom isn't really like that. She'll, use whatever is around. But after she shared that information with me, it was just like, no wonder why sometimes I take the longer method, or sometimes I prefer the taste of like homemade sauce versus canned sauce. So then, cooking, and then also just like little remedies that she would do, like getting a pepper leaf and mixing it with honey. If I had like, the little styes that you get on your eye, or like a boil or something, she would always do like little stuff like that. And when I was younger, I was like, what is all of that? But then as I got older, I started to understand a little bit more, and kind of like, I don't know, it was just like a whole like weird awakening, as the people would say. And then, the rabbit hole just kept getting deeper and deeper. And then recently, like I've always kind of like cooked with herbs and, things like that. But well, when I got older, because when I was younger, I was a picky eater actually. So yeah, not eat any of my vegetables. I was very simple with everything. Like I wanted all my burgers and tacos, all of that plain. But I really don't even know like what, I guess you could just say like intuition or spirit or something, but like around 2012, 2013, and this is like a lot of people, but I was like a junior going on to a senior in high school, and I just started studying different religions. And then that led me to that Zeitgeist YouTube video. After that, like I just started making my own, like, they're poisoning the lotion. Oh my God, everything is poison.
Mood, that's me.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna be vegan. And all my friends were like, girl, you don't even eat your vegetables. Like, what do you mean? Like, I'm gonna and then I drew like a little picture of like a baby pig, and I was like, remember the baby pigs. I mean, I'm not vegan anymore. Sorry. But yeah, so once I did, go through the whole vegan experience, I started cooking way more because there just wasn't options like that around the time. Now there's like way more restaurants and things like that. But at the time, like it was not readily available in 2014. So cooking for myself, and then I just got into herbalism, and then I kind of started connecting the dots more and more, like as I practiced more. So I guess learning hands-on is really what did it for me.
Do you feel like, because sometimes there's like spells that I know that nobody taught me. Like, for example, one day I was just stirring something and I just started like putting intention into it. So for you, do you kind of feel like that happens to you too, where you just intuitively know what to say, what to do, or maybe like this ingredient needs to go into it, even though like it's not in any kind of a recipe? Do you find like you're just channeling stuff like that sometimes?
Like even like with the recipes that you find online, like when you just Google something real quick, click a recipe, I'll be making it and then I'm like, I think I want to add a little bit of this. Like even with Reina, when I was telling them too, I'm like, if you feel called to put something in there, then just fill out those senses and put it in there. And it's funny that you asked that, because I am actually taking a workshop right now, which is called like Working with the Spirits. So she's like pretty much just teaching us like to stop second guessing ourselves. So if we feel like we heard somebody tell us to put extra black pepper or put cayenne instead of something else, don't doubt it, because the more that you doubt it, the less that you hear. So it's like, yeah, you got to just go with the hunches. And sometimes it's like, you got to trust yourself more than you're trusting other sources. Like if you're not finding that recipe online, that doesn't invalidate what you're feeling and what you're sensing. So, trusting yourself and definitely writing down those things and those recipes, because those are the best ones sometimes, like when you're not even really thinking about putting it together and you just start adding stuff. It's like, hold on, wait, what was that did? So like it was smoothies too. Sometimes you're like, hold on, I think I'm gonna just add a mango or dates. And it just changes the whole dynamic. Like, okay, thank you, whoever.
I love that. And I love that you said sometimes you got to trust yourself more than other sources. That just hit deep on just many different levels. So thank you for that.
That goes back with the card that you pulled, like, let go of that doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious how your relationship with your body changed as you got deeper into like kitchen magic, kitchen medicine. Because I'm sure you probably went into this journey probably just healing yourself and like what you wanted to change for yourself, and then you were like, I could do this for fun, and this is so cool. So like, tell us maybe a little bit about like that healing journey that you've had with food or just with spirit.
Okay. So again, like I told you guys, growing up, I was a very picky eater. So of course, like might be a little TMI, but we're all grown here. So I, used to experience a lot of constipation. I had a lot of allergies. Well, not really like a lot of allergies, but like dust, pollen, animal fur, like that used to trigger like my eczema and hives a lot. So as I did change my diet and started introducing other things into my diet, like I'm not allergic. Like I can be around cats and dogs and not have any problem. But like when I was younger, my eye would be like swollen and teary and red, and like I'm just like I could not like be near them. But now, like
that's crazy.
It's not so. I don't know what it is. I guess my body got a bit stronger, and I've never had the flu, but like when I was younger, I did used to get a lot of little sniffles, or like a cold could end up turning into a sinus infection. But now, like, I rarely get sick. But, that's not to say that that's everybody's body, because, everybody needs something different for themselves. But yeah, like it just takes, experimentation. But definitely I can pick up on like which foods make me feel more bloated or aren't as filling. So like going from like when I tried the whole alkaline thing, I was eating more quinoa. So the quinoa was just like very, very light. Like I would eat it, I would be full, I'd be satisfied, but also those things would break down a lot faster. But it would also like, push through, clean you out, versus rice, like way more heavy and starchy. So it sits and absorbs a bit more of the, liquids in your stomach. So that I felt more. And then even when I gave up dairy and then I introduced it back, like my throat would be like, what is this invasion of something? Because there's just good and bad bacteria in everything. So, if our body goes without it and it's reintroduced to it, it kind of goes in shock in different ways. So it's like, wait, hold on, what was that? But now, I mean, dairy still kind of is not my jam, but I eat it in moderation. And then, knowing things like that, like if I'm having a craving, I'm going to sit with them, like, why am I craving this? Like, okay. It, or whatever. But yeah, I'm pretty much an intuitive eater now. I don't even really like labeling my diet or anything like that, because food is food. Like the whole superfood thing is like, it's just greens, bro. Like it was kale before it was a superfood, but I get why they say it's super, because, it has the nutrients and things like that, opposed to other things that don't have as many, but food is food. It just depends on what's healthier and what's not healthy. So yeah, paying attention to all those little things. And then even knowing like when I'm dehydrated too, like, I just feel things in my body a lot more, because I have to pay attention to like when I'm hungry now, like if I'm going to be cooking more, or mostly like when I was vegan, I had to like go through this, I guess, initiation into learning my body. But people just need to be more mindful of that. Like, how do you feel after you eat? Like, are you eating to be full? And why are you eating like to be so full? Because, sometimes you get that urge to stop and keep going. It's like, why do you keep going? So, little things like make a major difference in just like your relationship to food and your body overall.
I feel so personally attacked right now. I'm just kidding.
That's where actually
the itis. Oh yes, that's where it does come from. Yeah, I'm trying to cut down on dairy products too.
I don't really feel like doing anything. But our body has to break down all of that food, so it's doing a lot to do that, and we're trying to do all these other things like so it does make you a little bit sluggish if you're not careful.
Yes, definitely. Well, going into, I know right now on your Instagram, you're doing a HooDoo Heritage Month every day, every other day, or every day you're posting something different, like a different HooDoo item. Could you maybe talk to us a little bit how you got into HooDoo, when you got first introduced, and what are your favorite HooDoo items to use? Because you had so many good things, like a rattle, which I love that post about rattles, because I love rattles and maracas. Use those to get away from the duppies, guys. It sends the spirits away. That's what the rattles are good for. But yeah, what's your favorite HooDoo heritage items that you like to use, or how'd you get into HooDoo?
Okay, so it's actually funny that you asked me that, because today I was talking to one of my, I'm gonna just call her one of my elders. And she was like, what is this HooDoo thing that you're talking about online? And are you sure you're saying it right? And I was like,
interesting.
And this was literally today. And I was like, HooDoo is actually, is not a religion. It's actually a tradition. And it's pretty much how they had to survive in secrecy. African-American people after, enslavement, and even during enslavement, they were not allowed to do a lot of their practices that, they used to do back home. So they had to be secret with this. So like doing a lot of prayer and spells and rituals through Bible quotes, or food medicine, and they didn't have access to going to doctors or things like that. And even like during the Jim Crow, like access to things just was very limited. So they had to come up with these traditions and these practices and these things to pass on to their family members so that they can survive and also navigate themselves through the world. So HooDoo is not a religion. It's not voodoo. Voodoo is its own separate thing, even though they kind of sound the same. But they are practices like simple things through like food medicine, or making like different like uncrossing powders and incense and things like that. But it's all pretty much like root working and working with the roots in the earth, and intention and prayer and words and the tools and the things that we have around us. So me highlighting like these little things is also showing people that we're still doing the thing, but we just don't really know why we're doing it anymore. We're kind of just like, oh, I don't know, I saw my mom do this, so I'm kind of just doing it. So like, as we integrated more into colonialism and capitalism and consumerism and other things. Like a lot of people are like, I'm not doing those traditions. Like I'm into this new age stuff. Like you talking about sweeping over a broom, that's superstition. But to people, like that's their actual faith. But you know, some people believe, some people don't believe. So, you know, that's neither here nor there. But and then she also said to me, she was like, believing in something can heal you or it can curse you. So I was like, huh, okay, I like that. So that again goes to like being intentional to what you're tuning into and listening to and stuff like that. One of my favorite tools would probably, there's so many, because it's like so many little things that I didn't even realize was also HooDoo stuff. But okay, so back to like how I got into it. Like this goes back into my whole little awakening rabbit hole, vegan, learning my roots and my ancestors. Like literally, like the more and more that I practice, the more that is being revealed to me, and the more that I'm just hearing and learning. Because I remember in probably like what 2016, I was asking one of my friends, I'm like, how do you talk to your ancestors? Like, what do you like? How do you give offerings? Do I just leave the food there? Like, do I throw it out? Like, I don't get, like, are they going to eat it? Like, what is that? So she kind of just like broke it down to me. It was like, you know, listen to your intuition, listen to them. I'm like, but they're not like, are they saying anything? And this goes back to how I was telling, you know, listening, like letting go of that doubt. So I just like kind of built like a little altar with light candles and water. And when I was with someone, but they kind of was like stunting my growth a little bit, holding me back. He would be like, oh, can you put that candle in the bathroom? Because it's disturbing me in my sleep. I'm like, it's a little flame. Like,
it was doing its work is what it was doing.
Exactly. Trust me. Because I was like, please guys, if this is what I got to do to talk to y'all and get out of this, do it. Whatever.
Yeah.
So it worked. But yeah, so then, I mean, again, like these are traditions that we kind of are doing already. So once I realized that, I was just like, oh, wait, hold on. Am I a practitioner? It's like, I do practice that stuff. Hold on. Okay. And then my mom is from Jamaica. So over there, they practice something called, well, it's in like throughout the Caribbean period, except for Haiti, because they have their own thing. But they might even do it in other parts of Haiti, for all I know. But they call it obia. And most people refer to that as something negative. Like, but my mom is not a believer of it. Like she has a lot of friends, and I'm sure now that she just like so loosely like, yeah, I've seen it all the time, but I don't really believe in it. I'm like, ma'am, like I've been asking you questions for years and you haven't been saying nothing. So yeah, it's just like, okay. So because I'm first generation born in America, but also I don't know how, like, I could have had some ancestors that got dropped off in Jamaica and some that got dropped off in America for all I know. So yeah, I don't really know if I was necessarily the first here, but to my knowledge, I'm first generation. But also I'm like, well, since I live in America and I am considered American, when I have to sign my documents, I have to put American. So I'm practicing the same thing that they're practicing to survive.
I think that's a good segue to like when you were talking about like new age versus like what you're doing. And I'm first generation American too. And so for me, like I grew up watching my mom do the same thing with food and herbs and like light candles and have altar and do these things for certain parts of the year, et cetera, and offerings. But it wasn't called anything. It was just like the way we did it. Like it was just who we are. And so I've been finding myself in this space because I had asked one of my housemates if she had a tea light candle because I ran out, and I always do my tea light candles every day, just my offering, connecting with ancestors. Deliberately been doing it for every single day for the last 3 years. Everywhere I go, I find a cup of water and a tea light candle. I travel with them. I always have it. But when I mentioned her, she was like, "What are you trying to do, a spell?" And then in my mind, I was like, why did her mind just go there? Like, why can't we just light candles, you know? But it's also that new age thinking, because she's in her early 20s, so, and I'm in my mid 30s, so there's a different disconnect in how certain groups of people perceive or embody it. But at the end of the day, like what you were saying, we're honestly just going back to our roots. We're going back to incorporating how things were to begin with, and how a lot of how quote unquote mystics now, I guess in the new age, are kind of taking from that and making their own, which is okay. But at the end of the day, I hope we all have the intention to just bring more balance and healing in the world, wherever the fuck we want to call it. But magic is who we are. Yeah.
Into it, like it's just like a way of being for a lot of people, a way of survival.
Yeah. And that's what we want to like tell everybody too, like how they practice magic. Like, magic's whatever you want to practice. And it's like everybody kept telling you, trust your intuition, trust your intuition. Like that's key to everything. Key to everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. I feel like people like us are recalling that old knowledge back. And like for me personally, it does kind of bother me when people do say, oh, it's new age, because it's not. It's so ancient. It's just that you're just putting new words on top of things. Like,
remember the whole hippie movement? Like,
yeah,
was the white folks, but what do you guys think the black folks doing? Like,
tell them.
Veganism and their little incense and resin and oils and all of that too. Like, all of this stuff kind of just like recircles and recycles. Like, I'm sure everybody got that one that was like real natural. She always had like an incense or like different things, or trying out different diets. Like, it's nothing new. Or even some of my friends, like their parents, they're like, if they have like Gen Xer parents, they're like, yeah, my dad like used to have us eating vegan food, or yeah, my mom. Like, it's nothing new. And again, like this, like you were like Sosa was saying, it's a way of life for a lot of people, like literal survival. Like, I even put on Indigenous Day, I put on my story, I'm like, bro, Indigenous people is out here eco-friendly, living green, minding their business, and y'all just slaughtered them in their land. And then now you're in a position of power where you can go buy the cocoa vegan wraps and the solar panels and stuff on your house. Now you're telling us to go green and to use paper straws and not plastic, but that was a way of life for us before you told us that was savage. We needed to be new age, fit with the time. So it's just like, yeah, but you know, not necessarily everybody's not gonna get on board, but the ones who are called to it, and they just gotta, you know, find their community and stop trying to force it onto people. And let people their intuition.
For those that don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, HooDoo is exclusive to North America, correct? Because I was told that it was a combination of course, Black beliefs and Indigenous beliefs combined, and it's one of these things that's exclusive to North America.
So I started like recently following a lot more like pages who are into HooDoo versus spirituality more, because spirituality is kind of like watered down between like so many different things, like religion and then capitalism, but they're saying they're not capitalist. Like, it's just kind of like a weird right now. But so a lot of those pages were saying that the sources who say that it's influenced by like Indigenous people is false, because first of all, they couldn't communicate with each other because they had two different languages. And also it's kind of just like how saying, like how they just feel like they don't know anything, like, they couldn't have came up with these practices and these traditions on their own. It had to have been influenced by another culture who is practicing spirituality, but no, they came over here with their own seeds and different plants and things. And I'm sure like along the way, like as they started mixing and mingling, you know, it kind of like did that. But for the most part, to my knowledge, it's just North American. And they say it's not influenced by any type of Santeria, or what's the other one? Lukumi or anything like that. It's just like African American tradition.
Mm-hmm. Okay, you know. I guess I asked that because I'm mixed. I'm both, and I've heard oral stories of people sharing knowledge, and although they didn't speak the same language, I've heard. I have no proof.
Yeah,
but I've heard about a universal sign language that was used among the two. So, but I believe what you're saying, because I think that there is, I believe what you're saying about how it started off, you know, African Americans were continuing their traditions in the way that they knew of. But I think what you're saying is along the way, as there was mixing happening, maybe some influence got back and forth. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, possibly. And then also they say like people who are connected to nature and spirituality and things like that, the earth gives them that information anyways. So the plants could have been talking to the both of them, and they both, okay, now they're using the same thing but calling it something different. Now they're like, maybe it's influenced by each other, but maybe they both just got that information. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, but to my knowledge. So that's why it's also kind of like, I can't say that I practice phobia. My mom, so that's not what I learned or saw really, even though like now, like my aunt just passed recently and I just found out she practiced, and I used to go to her house all the time and see little things, but not really. So now that I have like the awareness when I go over there, I'm like, I did not see that Oshun statue on the piano. I did not see that coconut in the corner. But also, I was born here. I see those things too. I'm growing up with those things too. Those things are a part of my space, even though like my mom pretty much cooks like her traditional like thing, and she learned like how to make other stuff, but she didn't really care to that much, or just like, I'll do a little recipe, or she just didn't like think too much into it. But me, I'm always coming home cooking like Southern food, even though Florida's not really like South Florida, because North Florida and Central Florida is a whole different place. But yeah, it's not like I come home cooking like both influences are in like my practices, if that makes sense. And then my dad is Cuban, so I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I'm all over the place. So
your mother's Jamaican, your father's Cuban.
Yeah.
Look at that. You are a very magical being.
And then
you have all the magical codes.
Right. And on my dad's side, his mom, she's Jamaican, but I think her grandfather or something, they came from Ireland. So that's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Because there's a migration from Ireland to Jamaica for more work. So I'm like, look, until I do my ancestry DNA, I don't really know who I am. I just know like, but then even like, you know, in a few generations, my kids my great-grandkids or whatever, they're not going to know. They're like, oh yeah, my great-great-grandma was Jamaican. They might stop lying. So, you know how kids are when you tell them that you have, like a lot of kids like, oh yeah, my great-grandmother is Indian. They're like, no, she's not. You don't have proof.
It's that sense of belonging that most of us are looking for.
What those damn little kids know anyways? They always want to say something crazy like, excuse me, do you have my...
We're all inner child, okay? We're all our inner children too, okay? Leave the kids alone.
I know. I'm like, man, why are you I think it's because I'm half Black and half Filipino, and growing up, people would see my mom and they'd be like, is that your nanny? And I'm like, that's my mom. Like, stop talking about me crazy. But I love how you were talking about how you
I love how you threw that like casual moment, and like Jazz is still trying to process like, oh shit, that's what happened to you, and you're like, oh anyways, let's just keep going.
Another day in the life.
That was traumatic. I'm sure Reina has tons of stories.
Yeah, it happens to me so many times. Like to this day, like so many things. But what I was gonna say is I love how you're talking about how this is just things that became a way of life for us, and how you started learning the more you got into spirit that like your aunt was into this, and your mom has friends that do that, this and that. I remember the other day I was using lemons as deodorant because I was reading it's a good thing, and I was like, I don't know, I just want to go all natural. And my mom walked in on me and she was like, what is this, the Philippines? Where'd you get that from? Because apparently that's what they do in the Philippines for deodorant and things like that. So I'm like, wow, it's crazy that I picked up on that just naturally stumbling upon it. Anything that maybe you saw that you were like, oh, my family did that, and then I'm gonna add my own juju to it.
Since I told you my mom is like, she thinks angels and spirit and ancestors are like Santa Claus. Like she says that all the time. So I didn't grow up in the church. I didn't grow up like, she probably, like I was saying, like she would do like little remedies and little things where like she would do like, but she's very green. So she's always bringing plant clippings home and bringing them back to life. So I guess like seeing that too, I'm like, oh, my mom does that all the time. Or it was a little meme that I had posted the other day, and it was like that little drawing of a stick figure, and he's like, they don't know I got plant clippings in my pocket. I was like, my mom, like completely, like we could be at a plaza, she's like, you want that plant? I'm like, Mom, no, like we cannot pick that right now. Like it's in broad daylight. She's like, just cover me, nobody will see. So that, but she like doesn't call herself a herbalist or anything like that. She's like, I just like plants. Yeah, that little stuff like that. And then also seeing like the things that I've been posting recently, like, because my mom does not talk about things until I bring it up to her. So I'm like, I got some of the blue stuff to wash the clothes with. She's like, I haven't seen that in years. Wow, where'd you find that? I'm like, Mom, it's around every store we go to. She's like, oh, I didn't realize. Or like camphor. She'd be like, yeah, we used to use the kerosene oil. Like if you had a splinter or anything like that, to like draw the splinter out. So it's like anytime like she'll see me doing something, she's like, what are you doing? Where'd you learn that from? The first time she saw me with Florida water, she was like, what are you doing with that? I was like, she's like, they say that's supposed to get rid of duppy, but I don't believe in that. So I don't know. So it's like every time I mention something to her, she's like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
Get rid of what did you say? It was supposed to get rid of what?
Duppy. So that's pretty much like evil spirits or stuff like that.
I've never heard that word, duppy.
Mm-hmm.
Funny story about Duppy and the way that I first heard about it. Drake had a song called Duppy Freestyle, and I was like, what the heck does Duppy mean?
What?
He hanging out with too much Jamaicans, and he think that he a Grim Reaper or something.
Yeah,
tell him to stop using that accent. He's horrible with that Jamaican accent.
That's how they talk in Toronto.
No, he was trying to mimic some Jamaican accent in one song, and I was like, tell this fool to stop.
Right? It's like
Drake. Sosa, he wants to fit in and belong.
No. That's funny. But yeah, that's if you Google it, it may or it'll probably come up like, yeah, Jamaica, that's what. Blah, blah, blah. And on YouTube, like they have all little videos of like paranormal activity.
Oh, okay. Also, I wanted to know, tell us a little about how your plant walk experience is, because you do plant walks within your community and you point out nature, right? So how does that work?
I was just gonna talk about that with my mom too, because I took her on one the other day, but she kind of ended up taking me on one.
Oh,
so again, this goes back to trusting myself in spirit, because in like 2016, 2017, when I first like started like practicing more and more with the herbs and like making things and giving it to people and stuff like that, I would see different plants around and be like, I think that is so-and-so, but I don't know. And then I'll go on Google and like confirm it. But then I would still like see the plant and be like, I don't know. It might be something that I'm missing that's poisonous and it's gonna kill me. So I started going outside more, like in Florida. And then I got like more field guides and stuff like that, and just started going outside more and learning things more. And I was like, okay, wait, I'm actually not wrong. And then I would like hear things, like I'll see like the plant and be like, ah, that's so-and-so. And I'm like, who told me that? Like, how did I know that? And then I'll look it up and be like, oh, okay, so I did either like memory or something. But so yeah, I started the plant walks, and pretty much we walked for like an hour and a half or so. And we talk about the different plants that are growing in our hometown, which ones are edible, which ones are poisonous, which ones are medicinal, how they're used, how they were used. And I feel like that experience is important for people to go outside and learn like the plants in their environment, because what's around you is usually what's for you. So
yes.
say like in New York, like you're gonna have more probably like more citrus things can grow up there because it's more mountainy and it actually gets cold, versus in Florida, like yes, citrus grows out here, but it's more like oranges and grapefruits and lemons. Like you won't get too much like limes and lemons and stuff like that, but they just grow wild in areas that are cold because they need it for when the winter time comes. So knowing what plants are in your region is a good way to start, versus like learning plants that are dried up already, because you can't see like where they're growing or how they're growing, because some plants prefer shade, some plants prefer to grow in like mud or swampy areas, some prefer like full sunlight. So getting to see that, you get to know, like if you guys watch my stories, you see all the time like, I just noticed that this plant does this thing, or it looks like a this, or it's doing that. And it just allows me to learn more things. And again, like getting those ideas like, maybe I should add this, or something is telling me that it also does that, or maybe it's good for this also. So yeah, hands-on experience that's why they do say that life is a book, like it's a book of life, because you really do learn when you go outside and live.
What plant is like talking to you most right now?
Things within the like mallow family. So like hibiscus, okra, cacao, cotton, like they're just everywhere I go.
Those are
It's
all in the
weird.
same
Like,
family?
yeah, I didn't even know that until recently.
Wow.
But yeah, they all are in the same family, and I'll be talking about one and then I'll go outside and see it, or I'll go online. And like I randomly found a cotton farmer the other day. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, a cotton farmer? Like, who is growing cotton in 2021? Like, that's random. Like, and he taught me like 3 different colors of cotton. I was like, I didn't even know that cotton did that. Like,
Same. I was like, they have colors?
Wait, they really do have colors?
Yeah, there's a red one and then a brown one. No, a brown one and a green one. And then the white one is apparently like the hybridized version of the two, because it's easier to pick. It produces more and it's a lot fluffier and a bit denser, so they could actually like make clothes and stuff with it. So I was like, dang. And then he even told me, I don't remember the percentage, but money is made out of cotton and linen, all of it.
What?
The more you
we
know.
Still chasing that cotton. And you see how they fucking us up. Dang.
Oh man.
So much to think about right now.
Like,
should we just like all plant cotton, just the energy around the house? Are we supposed to call that in that way?
He was saying that cotton was good for grief. So just like having that around was like a good
tissues. It's soft like tissues.
Yeah. And then also I could talk about plants all day, but
I know
being that it's in the mallow family with like the plants that like when they get in water, they absorb and get like all slimy and stuff like that. So like that's why okra is slimy. Marshmallow root is like really slimy, like once it's filled. So yeah, like that is associated with the lungs, which is like the emotion of grief also. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they're really like into the elements and the body parts. So it's like, oh, everything really connects.
Have you written a book yet?
No, I think I'm too young. And I don't know what I want to write about yet.
Never too
Girl.
young, never.
I've been thinking about it. Like, see, at first I want to do a poetry book, but then I'm like, I don't even really be writing poetry like that. I'd be forcing myself to write this book. Then I want to do like a little autobiography. But then I'm like, damn, like the people in my life are gonna hate me. So I'm gonna have to like make it a nonfiction. They're like, why did you say that I did that to you? Like, because you did.
Is your
And
grandmother
then like
still
now
around?
I want to do I don't want to do a recipe book, but like Zora Neale Hurston, they like took some of her recipes and wrote a book called Florida Food. So it has like stories about food and then recipes in between. So probably something like that.
That sounds, I got goosebumps when you said that. So I feel like that's what you're supposed to do.
Me too. Stay tuned.
Yes, I will buy.
I was gonna say, working in
same.
collaboration with your grandmother or your ancestors to create that book of like
Yes, for real.
an encyclopedia to healing.
Mm-hmm. I want to make one of those big books to pass down with the recipes and the things.
Well, speaking of things you want, what are some of those like bigger, ambitious goals that you would like to see yourself like through your practice, or what are some of those things that you were like, damn, it'd be really awesome to have this? Like, what really like lights that fire within you, your spark when it comes to the medicine that you're working with?
This sounds so corny and cliche, but just
Nothing's funny here.
but being in community, really, like I want to have a farm eventually where people can like come and like, you know, like either like a petting zoo or like, you know, doing the plant walks on the farm. And then also I have my place where I can make my medicine from my farm. But I don't know if I want, like, I don't think I want to be a big corporation that's like in multiple states. I want people to be like, I gotta drive to so-and-so to go visit this land. So that's like the overall.
That you're calling in because it's already happening for sure.
Yeah, I'm stepping into it for sure. And it's like sometimes like I feel like I can't see it, but you asking me like all these questions about like what even got me to this space now, like just lets me know that damn, at one point I actually was ignorant to a lot of things and I learned. So I'm gonna learn even more and I'm gonna step into more spaces and feel more comfortable like as I grow. So thank you.
Yeah, we're excited to see your growth of that. Hell yeah.
I'm excited too. Yes. It's gonna be a journey.
Yeah.
Aw, you guys are so cute.
Yeah, we're all about supporting women of color, especially in this field. Anybody has any last minute? Rooster. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, they're all over Kauai.
The roosters agreeing with you. They're like, I'm ready for the farm. Bring me in.
They're like, yes.
They're like, we hear that farm. Okay, I just want to say maybe last little question, unless Erika wants to throw anything in, but you were talking about remedies that your mom taught you with herbs and stuff like that. What's maybe, if you could give us a sneak peek of something that's going to be in the book, maybe what's a good remedy that you've either discovered through family or you've created through your own? Because I know you have an apothecary full of amazing products. So is there an apothecary product you made, or is there something that you, a little something you
probably more so like food things or drinks. So like one drink that my mom always makes, when I was younger, she made this limeade out of the sour oranges and then she used brown sugar. But again, I was a little American kid, so I'm like, what is that? And she's like, it's lemonade. Like, that is not lemonade. She's like, yeah, it is. And I drank it. I was like, it's actually really good. But I don't know, when I was younger, a lot of things that were like brown, like black rice was like, what is that? Like, how did you guys get it black? Until, you know, but that's just how they like program me through the media and just life in general. Like, it's crazy. But yeah, so definitely her little limeade, and probably her pineapple ginger juice, because it's just good for everything. Like, if you're sick and you drink it, like it helps to like clear out any like congestion in your sinuses and stuff like that, or if you drink it with your meal, like your stomach don't be feeling all crazy afterwards. And it's also refreshing on a hot day. Like it's just, yeah, her little pineapple ginger juice is. And it's like, if I juice like pineapples, she makes it out of just like the ginger pulp and sometimes the skin of the pineapples. So I'm like, dang, like you just over here repurposing my scraps. Like,
there's so much to take notes on that though.
But you can also use it, like you don't have to use the skins, like you can boil the pineapple itself and the ginger itself. But if you do ever juice pineapple and ginger, you can use the pulp and make the drink. Like you don't have to sweeten it because the pineapple is kind of a little sweet. Or you can, add a little bit of sugar, or if you're into date syrup or agave, or, people are into their things. So whatever sweetener it is that you like, that works. And I guess kind of just like eyeball the water. She eyeballs everything. I eyeball everything, but Reina, I did pretty good with giving you instructions on how to make a meal. Cause I'm like, dang, I really hope I told them how to add enough water, add enough this or add enough that. And I hope it turns into a sauce because I know how to do it, but I don't know how to really tell people or make recipes. So okay, it's not that bad.
Yes,
so,
no, it definitely works. I think that's definitely the hardest part of integrating the medicine that we learned from our ancestors and our family, because they don't write none of this down. Like we just,
like, here, just do
my
this.
auntie's house, I recorded her with the camera because I was like, if you're not gonna, I was like, you better, I was like, talk to the camera. Yeah, I was like, I need to have these videos so I know how to make this roux for this gumbo. Because if you gone, I can't make this roux, I would be upset.
Because YouTube is just not gonna do it every time. Like it's like, no, I want your roux, not YouTube. That's why I asked you. So yeah, it's important. And then writing those things down. Yeah. And then what else would probably go in there? Probably that okra that I made, because that thing was so good. Oh God. It was like okra and tomatoes. But I seasoned it like pretty simple, just some paprika, cayenne, salt, pepper, garlic. And I used like a cap full of vinegar just to like pickle it a little bit. And I don't even know where that came from. I was just like, oh, I think I've seen this on TV somewhere. Yeah.
I'm so hungry now.
Me too. I did not eat my dinner yet. It is about that time. I don't even know what I'm gonna have. But yeah, now you got me thinking of all these things that I want to cook this week. Sometimes it goes like up and down, the motivation, but it's also a therapeutic thing too. Like I'm gonna just go cook a really big meal and just let off steam and then eat and feel good. But I'm not a stress eater, which is funny. It's the complete opposite when I'm stressed. Like I don't eat food. I don't even know if I have a body that can digest that right now. Like I'm not here.
Well, thank you so much so far for everything. That was amazing.
Thank
so where can we find you? How can we work with you? How can we shop at your apothecary? Where do we find you?
So I was blessed enough to get the Instagram and the website and the email. So all of them are SOL, like the sun, Divinity. That's my Instagram name. Then my email, soldivinity@gmail.com. My website, soldivinity.com. The only thing I did not get was the Twitter account. And yeah, my website has a link where you can subscribe to my mailing list if you want updates on sales, workshops, and just like different insights. Sometimes I feel called to do a reading or share some information that I don't feel like putting on Instagram. Like, I'll make this special. So yeah, feel free to subscribe. Join me on Instagram. I go live randomly. I do giveaways. I have amazing products to share and a lot of information that everybody loves. Look at me boosting myself up. I never do this. So.
As you should.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope to see you guys there. I'm talking to all the future viewers.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely learned some things.
Thank you for having me. Yes, this was so fun. And yeah, Reina prepped me. She's like, just, we just gonna be having a conversation. We'll just talk. Like, yes, because I'm anxious sometimes, but this was fun. So thank you for having me again.
Yes, we loved it. And for all of you, if you want to continue seeing us, you know where to find us. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, where you can also find our link tree with all of our other podcast listings on where you can listen to us. Like I mentioned earlier, we're on several, such as Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Overcast, and much more. Please comment below in the conversation. Let us know what you took away from all of this. We love talking to you guys. We try to respond when we can. We love the feedback. And we will see you guys in the next episode.
Peace
Bye,
out.
guys.
Thank you.